Josh, welcome to FrightFest, sir.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is awesome.
How's it been so far?
Wild ride. My movie hasn't even screened yet, and I've
Yeah,
already
it's
just
today.
like, it's today at 3:45, and I'm just like, I can't believe this. It's felt like a month. Like I've been here for forever. I feel like I live in London now.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, we've been setting up since like last week, and obviously it's taken a year to put it together. It's the same for us. It's like a crazy whirlwind. You've been a brilliant guest. You've been hanging out. You've been dancing. You've been drinking. You've been cavorting. You've been talking to people.
these
You've
are
had-
my people. Like this being here, it's like I can just walk up to anyone who's got one of these on and be like,
Talk.
what movies do you like? And what have you seen that was good? And it's just like the most fun being able to just talk about it and break it down. You go and see a movie like just in the cinema regularly and you walk out of the theater and you just hear people going like, I didn't like it, I liked it. But they can't break down why. It's tough for them to really get it. Here, you could sit and talk with someone about a movie for hours.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a really amazing community, isn't it? The whole vibe of the place, like a big family, isn't it?
It is, and it's crazy because a lot of times what happens at some festivals is people sort of go off into their group. Critics are over here, movie watchers are over here, filmmakers are over here, and no one really wants to intermingle. Here it's like no one cares. Everyone just talks to everyone, and you could be talking to, I've talked to like 3 moms of filmmakers here, and that's like, and they're telling me what they thought of movies, and it's like so awesome.
It is the year of the mum, isn't it?
It is. It's so interesting, and the moms are chatting about the movies, and some of them. The really funny thing is the moms are so supportive, but a lot of them are like way out of their comfort zone with the horror films because it's just not what they've been into, not what they've grown up on, but it's an excuse for them to like connect and try something new. And some of the movies I've seen with moms who before said they didn't like horror, and then they saw them and they came out just like, that was wonderful, I loved it. Like, it's so great.
So, Greywood's plot. Tell us a bit about the plot.
Yeah, so Greywood's plot is a movie that me and my 3 friends, Daniel, Keith, and Strauss, went out in the woods and filmed for my 31st birthday, and that's when we started it. And I had one thing on my bucket list I always wanted to do, and that was make a movie. I turned 30, and told my wife, like, this year I'm making a movie. I had 2 kids, a mortgage, a wife. Like, I had lived a whole life, but I hadn't done the one thing I wanted to do. So I got through I didn't make it when I was 30, and I was having my 31st birthday, and I turned to my wife, and I was just like, this year I just want to go out in the woods and make a movie with my friends. I don't care if it's good or bad, I just got to get it out of me. And she said, how much booze do you need? And we went out in the woods, we filmed and failed miserably. Just came back with good footage, but we didn't have a movie in it. It was more like a writing session. And then I got on Robert Rodriguez's Rebel Without a Crew, and I made my first feature. Like, that just sort of almost accidentally happened. And the last day we were filming The Good Exorcist, I turned to Daniel, who's like the lead in Greywood's plot and the lead in The Good Exorcist, he's Greywood's in Greywood's plot. I turned to him and I was like, dude, you know what we got to do, right? And he's like, yeah, we got to go finish Greywood's plot. So as soon as I was done with The Good Exorcist, we started writing this idea. And I always wanted to make a movie where, not to spoil too much, but I wanted to make a movie where we had a Dr. Frankenstein body horror vibe that's sort of like Island of Dr. Moreau. I wanted to make an Island of Dr. Moreau movie. Making people into monsters is cool to me. So I wrote this script. I wrote it in like 2 weekends, and I sent it to Daniel, and then he touched it up, and within like a week, we were back out filming. And over a year, we would go on the weekends and just film. Daniel had grown his hair out again after he shaved it the first time we went to film, and then he grew it back out because his wife likes his hair longer. And I had to tell his wife he's going to have to shave his head again. And so he shaved his head again, and we went back out in the woods and filmed most of it over like all weekend, like a long weekend. And then we just filmed pickups as we went, and I would edit during the work week. I would work the days, edit at night, and then we put together this movie. And it's just been sort of the nice thing about an independent film, when you don't have a big crew, you don't have a big cast, it's just your friends, or some scenes in the movie I literally shot myself. It's just me in my basement with a camera and autofocus, filming myself. If I think something is missing or I come up with a new idea, I can just go do it. Like anytime, you can just go make it. Versus when you have a big crew and you're under budget and you have to work with the budget specifically and stuff, you can't do stuff like that. You have to work inside those boundaries. So I was like, well, this is my chance to take advantage of no one telling me what to do, and I'm just going to go with it.
Well, as soon as I saw it, I absolutely loved it. And you're right, the concept, you think, oh, it's the same thing, you know, people in the woods and lo-fi and blah, blah. But then it kind of goes in really wild and really fantastic areas, which is why I selected it for FrightFest. I think our audience are really, really going to dig it.
So yeah, and one of the things I really wanted to try with this movie was doing stuff that maybe isn't going to work. Maybe it's too weird. Maybe it's like too unexplained or too out of left field, but no one could tell me I can't, and I just wanted my imagination to be on screen. So if I wanted to do a dead spider monster on the ground, I can do that. No one's gonna say like, well, but you have to explain this better than that. No, I don't have to do anything because no one's telling me what to do, so I just did it.
Perfect. So, this is it the world premiere, or there's been a couple?
The European premiere.
European premiere. Yeah. Where's the film going next with regards to festivals? Have you heard anything?
We're sort of at the end of like going to festivals, I think, right now, and we're looking for like how can we get it to people. This movie was never meant. I never thought we'd get into a festival at all, and we've been so lucky to get into like a handful of other festivals already, and then this is like the ultimate. Like this was the dream festival, and I didn't even send it in. Daniel sent it in without telling me. And I got the email that said like you got into FrightFest, and I messaged Daniel. I'm like, something's wrong with our submission. We got into FrightFest. He's like, oh yeah, I submitted it. And I'm like, oh, like, and then it was breakdown time. Like I can't believe it. And yeah, he sent it because he had heard an interview on the Movie Crypt podcast, and the way that it was talked about was just like this festival was talked about in a way that felt like maybe you'd understand what we did. And so he went on a whim and just sent it in, and we somehow got in, and we're like super grateful. But we always thought that this movie would be the kind of movie that we would make, and maybe we get some like minor distribution or something, but it'd be the kind of movie that people pass around. It just feels like that movie where someone goes like, you know what you might like is this weird movie made by 4 guys in the woods with no money, and it's weird. Go watch this. So that's sort of where we're at now, where we're like, well, how do we just get it to people, and how do we get it seen? Not that we're like not actively looking for distribution and whatnot.
Which I was going to come to. I was going to say, where are you distribution-wise? How can people see this?
We're nowhere right now. We're looking. We're asking around and seeing who wants to take the leap with our little weird movie, because we've had talks with distribution and distributors, and I think this is something a lot of like truly independent movies deal with, where you get that message back that's just like, we really enjoyed it, we see what you're going for, but we do not know how to sell this. You worked way outside of the bounds of comfort for most people, so we're not sure. Like, I've had multiple distribution companies come back and say like, it's great, can you send us a color version? And I'm just like, no, like I could, but I'm not going to. My movie is black and white. That's your vision. It's it feels wrong in color. When you see it in black and white, your mind instantly goes, okay, this is a callback to old 40s horror and Ed Wood movies and B movies of the past and Terror is a Man and stuff like that. I wanted to make a movie like that. And when I saw it, because we originally shot in color, and when we saw it and we were looking at the footage we were filming, and I was starting to turn the monitor to black and white and look at it, Daniel and I were both just like, oh, this is a black and white movie. Why are we even thinking in color for this? And that was the beautiful thing about making this movie the way we did, is we could just roll with the punches.
There's a huge buzz around the screening this afternoon. People are
it's been weird.
Can I have tickets? I'm really sorry, we can't get you in. I mean, it is going to go on. It's going to go on and do great things. What are you up to next? What are you working on?
Yeah, so I am making a movie right now called Scumbag, and when I was when I was on Rebel Without a Crew, I always felt like that title is sort of bogus. Like I had a crew. Like the second my cast came out, these folks were all like wonderful. They'd hop on boom mics. They would, go and run visual effects. And on Greywood's plot, my friends didn't know how to run a camera. Like they've been behind in front of the camera with me filming them sometimes, but generally they had no idea. They don't know what 3-point lighting is. Like that was a term they wouldn't have known. But by the end of Greywood's plot, they were like a crew. Like it's the best crew I've ever worked with, because we didn't have to have that like getting to know each other, trying to feel out the vibe of the crew, who's sensitive, who's not. It just got to the point where we all could just talk to each other like friends and we'd get it done. Like we just get the movie going. We could film 10 times faster than I've ever been able to film on a professional set. So, but I always felt jaded by this idea of Rebel Without a Crew. I love it, but I was like, can I literally make a movie by myself? There are scenes in Greywood's plot that I filmed with no one else around. So I wrote a script September 2019 about pandemic breaks out and a guy's in a bunker by himself, and it's, you know, it's just me in my basement filming myself in a gas mask. So I grew my fingernails out for like 7 months. I grew my hair out, and like my wife was not happy with all of this, turned my basement into a bunker, set up like monitors and cameras on tracks. So I have the cameras on these like remote tracks. And sent the script to Daniel, and I'm like, don't tell me anything about it. Like, don't tell me if you like it or not. I just want you to say, do this or don't. And I sent it to him, and he's like, let's go get drinks, dude. Took me out, and he's like, don't do this. I'm like, really? He's like, I like this script too much, and I want to work on it. I don't want you to just like waste this script on a movie you made by yourself. And at this point, I'm like, my fingernails are, my wife is going to divorce me if I don't cut my nails soon. Like, I look like a freak. And then maybe that was like in December, 2 months later, the actual pandemic hit. And I had no idea when I wrote the script, and there are like jokes in it and references to things that were happening in like mid 2020. And Daniel is like, you got to do this now. Now you have to make this movie. So I did. I started filming, and I filmed over the last year, and I just wrapped production, and I've been up in my hotel room editing like in the mornings every morning.
Fantastic. So when do you think that'll be ready
Well,
for me to have a look at?
hopefully soon. You know, you never know how long an edit's really gonna go, how long, and because I have to do everything myself. Like I'm doing score before bed, like I'm just writing some score pieces. I'm editing during the day, or like between, like on my lunch break at work, I sit and edit the movie. So hopefully quickly, and I can submit it for next year, and
That'll be perfect.
tell the story about how I edited this movie while I was hungover in the mornings after a long night of partying.
That'll be amazing. Thank you so much. Is there anything finally to say to London or to FrightFest?
No, just thank you so much. Like, this has been so wonderful. Like, not just having the screening, but just interacting with people. There's people I've met at this festival 4 days ago, 5 days ago that I met that I feel like I'm going to be lifelong friends with. And that means a lot to me personally.
Amazing. Thank you, Josh.